Hey there, you girls, boys, and non-binaries out there. We are back with our good friend Nate here from Wise Disciple. And as a reminder, he found these 5 or 6 deconstruction TikTok creators and took their popular videos where they were talking about their personal testimony and experience, either in how they deconstructed their Christian faith and became atheists, or how they deconstructed their Christian faith and became a different type of Christian, and he's reacting to their videos, and I'm reacting to his video. And his channel is all about helping Christians be better defenders of the faith, helping equip apologists. And as I said in my previous videos, it's the job of a Christian apologist not really to get to a capital T truth, but to basically defend something that they already believe. And that's most of his videos are kind of like couched in that mindset. And so we're going to look at 2 additional TikTokers that he addresses. And I think these are great examples, again, of some of the kinds of arguments that apologists make that makes you wonder, are they actually sitting down and thinking about the things that they're saying? Because I wonder sometimes. So in this first one, uh, he's addressing a female TikToker, and she's getting ready. That's going to come up a little bit later. But as she's getting ready, she's talking about like how she deconstructed her faith and how and why and how she became an atheist.
These are 5 things that I learned while deconstructing from Christianity. First one has to do with the burden of proof. The burden of proof is on Christians, not on non-believers. Christianity makes the claim that there is a God. Not only that, but also it makes the claim that the Christian God is the one true God and definitely the only God worthy of worship. Non-believers or atheists lack a belief in this God. There is insufficient evidence to convince us. So in debates or arguments with Christians, it is important to remember who has the burden of proof.
I've heard atheists and skeptics say this quite a bit. Christians are the ones making the claim, right? We lack a belief, therefore Christians have the burden of proof. This is simply not the case for a couple of reasons. First, and I'll say this as a debate teacher, the burden of proof only rests with the one who challenges what's called presumption in a debate. Okay, I've spoken about this at greater length in a video called Do Christians Have the Burden of Proof? I'll leave that link in the notes below. Presumption represents the status quo with regard to belief. And so in a debate where the presumption lies is clearly identified by either stating it outright as part of the terms of debate, the agreement to get to the debate stage in the first place between 2 interlocutors, or it's identified by looking at the audience in the debate. In other words, what is the status quo of belief with regard to most people? Well, when it comes to the existence of God, particularly the God of the Bible in this country, Christianity is still the status quo. As a matter of fact, atheism is still a large minority in this country. So when we get into debates, as this person said, right, and we try to figure out who properly shoulders the burden of proof, atheists cannot get away with saying, oh, Christians are the ones claiming God exists, so they shoulder the burden of proof. Because if the criteria is whoever makes the claim bears the burden to prove it, which is known as the burden of proving assertions in debate, well, then guess what? Atheists shoulder this burden too. The moment they disagree with Christians about the existence of God, even if they want to say it's because they lack a belief, right, they do so based on their own claims that seek to clash or undermine the Christians' claims. And the claims and the arguments that they make then must also be proved. So atheists are not off the hook at all.
I understand what he's saying. Here's a problem with that. And that is the burden of proof isn't based on just a presumption of the particular society that you live in. It should be based on the presumptive status quo of society as a whole. In which case, we have gotten to a point of understanding where the definitive existence of any God is an unfalsifiable claim. That is the status quo. You are born without a belief in a particular God, okay? Any belief that you have is a belief that's going to be given to you by whoever raises you, whichever society that you live in. So just because you live within a society that has a particular belief system, that doesn't mean you now have to prove that that particular belief system is incorrect. Because we are now at a point in society as a whole where we know that no God is falsifiable. We cannot prove nor disprove the existence of a God. So, yes, it is on the burden of proof of anyone who's making any type of God claim for them to prove that this particular God exists versus the status quo for everybody when they're born, which is a disbelief in any God and a lack of any proof that any particular God exists.
In science, having a hypothesis that is falsifiable is a good thing because it means that we can test that hypothesis. What I learned while deconstructing is that the proposition that God exists is not falsifiable. Specifically, the God of the Bible, the Christian God. There are some gods that are falsifiable. For example, if I made the claim to worship a god named Betty that appeared every single time I did a pirouette, we could definitely figure out a way to test that claim and falsify it. As far as I can tell, though, the God of the Bible is not falsifiable because he exists outside of space and time.
What is happening? Is she slowly getting ready for bed? Like, can't she just talk to the camera? Like, is she really that busy with her life that she has to squeeze in putting moisturizer on and doing her hair and also explaining why God does not exist? I certainly hope the next shot is not going to be her on the toilet or something, right?
Okay, I addressed this in my first video. Even though I'm pretty sure I'm older than this dude, he sounds like a boomer, and I'm not a boomer. And he obviously does not get TikTok. So it is not uncommon for TikTok creators, especially female ones, to make a video while they get ready. There's even a hashtag for it. Get ready with me, GWWM or GRWWM. Get ready with me, or you get the point. You know what I'm saying. So it's a popular thing in TikTok and Instagram to get ready, and then while you're getting ready, talk about a particular topic, whether it's God, whether it's science, what have you. So that's just he doesn't get it. Whatever. It just every time he makes this comment, it's just funny because it's like, dude, you're I don't know. You're showing that you don't really know how TikTok works.
Like she's cutting her toenails and flossing her gums,
It's invisible. He works in mysterious ways. You have to have faith in him. How on earth would we demonstrate that this particular definition of God wasn't just some figment of our imagination or an idea? Looking at claims and figuring out whether or not these propositions are falsifiable has been an incredibly useful tool for me to identify assumptions embedded in my beliefs.
Is this person not aware of the minimal facts of the resurrection? In other words, that we Christians make an inference based on the disciples' eyewitness testimony that they saw Jesus alive after he died, that they spoke with him on multiple occasions, that they ate food with him, that they went on to tell everyone else about this eyewitness testimony that they have to the detriment of their own personal safety, many of them being tortured and killed for their testimony. Is this not a series of compelling pieces of evidence for this person to wrestle with? If you could falsify...
Is Nate not familiar with the fact that the Prophet Muhammad split the moon according to the Quran in Al-Qamar 54 verses 1 through 3? Like it says right there in the Quran, and there were eyewitness testimonies to him splitting the moon. Is he not aware of that? Obviously, you stating verses in your holy book is not a proof that your God exists. That again is a claim that's unfalsifiable. All the eyewitnesses that he's talking about are eyewitnesses that are only referenced in the Bible. And so to be able to say that your belief is based on these eyewitness testimonies on your holy book, and that is your falsifiable claim, that's not falsifiable. There's no way I can prove or disprove definitively that these eyewitnesses actually even existed, because none of them left their own Bibles or diaries that we can see. There's no extra biblical evidence to attest to what these particular eyewitnesses saw. And so again, it just like the whole point of a falsifiable claim is you can take something and you can prove that it does or does not exist, right? And the thing that's frustrating about this is when we as atheists point to things in science or in history or in biology or in archaeology that definitively disproves some story of the Bible, they always have a story about why that's not the case. All right. History and archaeology pretty much disproves that there was ever any type of mass exodus of Jews out of Egypt. Doesn't matter. Science and biology proves that the vastness and diversity and variety of animals and humans on this planet did not come out of 8 people and a couple thousand animals who walked off an ark 4 to 5,000 years ago, which you would have to believe based on when the world global flood happened. And so you'll show science, you'll show archaeology, you'll show all these things that disprove some aspect of the Bible, but they always have some apologetic as to why that is not true or why that doesn't debunk whatever it is that they believe. And again, that is the goal of an apologist, to give you some modicum of a belief, some modicum you can hold on to to say that, see, there's a possibility, there's a 0.001% chance that this could be true, and that's all you need to believe. So at the end of the day, you referencing your holy book, yeah, I guess you could say that is a reason to wrestle with it. And I'm sure she and many other people who used to be Christian and who are no longer Christian wrestle with it, and they got to the point where they got to because they realized, you know what? Most of the stuff doesn't make sense, and there's nothing to prove that this actually happened. And there's no way that I or her or anyone else can prove that they didn't happen. And that is the whole falsifiable claim thing. So I'm sorry, at the end of the day, it is not the burden of proof of someone who doesn't believe in a fantastical claim that fantastical claim is not true. All right, I think that's where I'll stop with this particular reaction video. And as I said before, I make these videos because I think oftentimes, and I don't necessarily think they're doing this on purpose, but I think there's oftentimes a level of intellectual dishonesty with regards to some of the arguments that non-believers make, that apologists like Nate, either address or assume, and I just want to address those. So let me know in the comments. Do you like these arguments that he's making? If you're a Christian, uh, do these help strengthen your faith? If you're a non-believer, do you disagree with some of the points that Nate is making? As always, like, love, share, and I appreciate you. See you on the next one. Peace.